Well, the time has finally come. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So if you clicked on this video, you probably noticed by the title by now that the time has finally come and I have decided to go ahead and sell my 2001 Cobra Mustang with an Eaton swap on it. Now, the only reason that I'm selling this car is because it just doesn't seem like the kind of car that I want to keep around right now. The car has 150,000 miles on it, and you know, the motor isn't built or anything like that, and the transmission is just a stock 5-speed Tremec 3650. And as much as I want to keep the car, I just don't think it's worth it right now. It's not a perfect car. You can definitely tell that it has higher miles. There's some scratches on the paint like that. And there's dents on the door over here. I really do like the car, and it's not my favorite color. This is mineral gray, but it's definitely grown on me. And having a 2001 Cobra definitely is on my list of cars that I want to own or have in my garage one day. But I just don't think that this one is the one that I want to keep. I want to sell this thing and get a different car. I don't even know if it's going to be a new Edge, so you'll have to stick around to find out. But basically today, I'm just going to be doing some little things to the car to get it ready to sell. I still haven't posted it for sale yet. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to take the Bassani catback off, and I'm going to put a Flowmaster one on it that's in the backyard. And then I still need to attach a wire underneath the dash to get the stock GT taillights to work on this 2001 Cobra. Now, where I am right now, I'm in Texas. It got super cold yesterday. I think right now it's about 40 degrees outside, but it definitely doesn't feel too bad. When you stand in the sun, it feels pretty normal, but it's kind of cold out here. What I'm gonna do, I really need to start this thing. It's been sitting for like, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe not that long, but about 2 to 3 weeks. The last time I tried to do anything, the battery was dead, so hopefully the battery is not dead again, but I need to start this thing, probably go drive it, move it around. I'm gonna check if the battery's dead and then try and pull it out of the garage. And yep, battery's dead. All right, we gotta charge it real quick. All right, and charging. It's probably gonna take a good hour to get this thing charged up to where it can start. So one thing that kind of sucks that I know some of you wanted to see was you wanted to see the Eaton Swap 2001 Cobra race the Cobra Swap Bullet, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen. For anybody that doesn't know, this does have a Whipple on it, and it is a 2003 Cobra engine swap with a T56, and a lot of people were asking to see these two race, but I don't think it's going to happen because this thing, I'm not too sure about the tune on the car. It runs really good. I'm sure the tune is fine, but I just don't want something to blow up on this thing before I sell it. And I think we already know which one would win, and it would definitely be this thing because he's got sticky tires in the back, and this thing's pushing like 600 horsepower, maybe a little bit more, and this thing's pushing somewhere around 400 wheel, so this thing would definitely have won. But I tried to make as many videos as I could with this car. If it doesn't sell very soon, I'll try and make a couple more videos with the car on a couple things. I'm not too sure what, but if this thing sells before Christmas, then I would have owned it for about 4 or 5 months, I think. And it was definitely a lot of fun to own, and it was pretty fun trying to get it to run as well, getting the Eaton swap and all that put together. So it was a cool car. I learned some stuff with the supercharged 4 valves. Okay, so it's gonna take a few hours for this battery to charge, so to kill some time, me and my brother are gonna go up to the golf range and hit some balls. This driver I got yesterday, it's a 915 D2 Titleist driver, so we're We're gonna go up there, give it some wax, see how it does, and then we'll come right back and start the car. All right, we're back at the house. It's been charging for about 2 to 3 hours, so it should start right up, but we're about to find out. Light right there doesn't even work. Okay, so the car is warming up a little bit. I figured right now we could get a decent idle shot of the car with the Bassani catback. So here's what the idle sounds like with the Bassani and a Bassani catback, and then it has a Bassani catted X-pipe. Pretty quiet. Yeah. Idle's not that loud, but I'll give it some revs real quick before we take this catback off. All right, so there's the Bassani. And here is the Flowmaster that is gonna go on. You can see how this one's starting to, rust a little bit more. It's probably because this is aluminized steel and that's a little bit better quality steel. So that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're wanting to go with the Flowmaster catback. If you live in places where there's a lot of salt on the road, the Flowmaster is definitely not going to last as long as like a Bassani or a Borla or Magnaflow exhaust would. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I got all of the mid-pipe bolts right there tightened down. Don't mind all that dirt right there. It was there was a little bit of dirt inside of the exhaust that I had to scrape out of there, but it's all good now. And the catback is fully on the car now. Doesn't look as good as the Bassani, but that's okay. Whoever buys this car is probably going to switch out the catback anyways, so not worried about that. The only thing I'm worried about is how it's going to sound, if it's going to sound good or if it's going to sound pretty bad, but we'll have to find out. Okay, so call me crazy, but I kind of like the sound of the Flowmaster a little bit more at idle. It's got a little bit more of like a lope sound to it. You can kind of hear the cams a little bit more, but I can already tell right off the bat after starting it, it's definitely a lot quieter than the Bassani, and that says a lot because the Bassani exhaust itself wasn't very loud to begin with. So the car is even quieter now. That's okay. Still sounds healthy, still sounds good. Let's get some revs of the Flowmaster, see what it sounds like at some high RPM. Okay, so yeah, I am not a huge fan of that exhaust whatsoever. It sounds pretty much like bone stock to me, even though I know if it was stock it'd be a lot quieter, but I just am not a huge fan of Flowmaster, and with a catted X-pipe, it just doesn't sound loud at all. It just sounds like air noise just flowing out the back of the car. So it is what it is though. The only other thing that I need to fix now is I need to get the brake lights working. So the turn signals on the brake lights work. I'll show you that here real quick. If I put the hazards on, the blinkers work, but when I hit the brake light, nothing comes on. And the reason for that is, let me pop the trunk here real quick. If anybody knows anything about the 01 Cobras, you would know that these cars came with the factory amber taillights on the car. But as you can see, I've taken those off and I've put in stock GT taillights onto the car. Now the reason for this I explained in my last video, so if you're curious, just check out that video. I explain it kind of towards the end somewhere. But I wanted to explain how I wired up these stock GT taillights to an 01 Cobra, because on an 01 Cobra, the connector pin is different. This is a 5-prong, and the one that comes on the GTs are a 4-prong, as you can see there. So this is one way to do it. This is the way that I chose to do it. I just T-tapped into the taillight harness wires, and then I T-tapped into the wires on the body harness. The colors line up fine. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that there's going to be 2 blinker wires, so somehow you just need to make sure that those connect and then run to 1 wire into this 1 wire. So that's all you have to do. I did the same thing on this side, as you can see there. Now the reasoning for the brake lights not working is this green wire doesn't go to anything. And so what you have to do is under the dash, you have to find the green wire under here. There's going to be 2 green wires. They're each in different connectors. You have to T-tap them together, and it basically completes the circuit. So if that seems confusing at all, I understand it's pretty confusing to me too, but I kind of started to understand it when I thought about what I had to do when I installed the amber taillights into my GT. You have to tap into the 3rd brake light wire under here, and you have to run a new green wire to the amber taillights. So the wiring harnesses are just a little bit different on the GTs than the 99 01 Cobra as well. I guess the wiring harnesses are all the same except for the 99 and 01 Cobras. Those harnesses were different. So the Terminators, the GTs, the V6s, those are all the same. And the Mach 1s. Can't forget about the Mach 1. Okay, so here's what I have set up now. I have it T-tapped into the green wire for the 3rd brake light and the regular brake light. So this green wire on this pin, the green wire on this connector is pin number 15. It sits on this back side right here. And then the green wire on this connector is number 12. So you just unplug these, look at the number, find number 15 on this one, number 12 on this one, tap them in together, and then the brake lights should work.
Turn the key or no?
No. And there we go. Brake lights work. So for anybody who has a 99 01 Cobra, that's how you get normal GT taillights to work on it. Just got to do a little bit of wiring fixes, but now they work just as they should, like from a factory GT or Mach 1 or anything like that.
You should never take the ambers off a Cobra.
Yeah, well, this one didn't come with ambers, so I ain't putting them on there. All right, and just like that, this car is pretty much ready to be put onto the market. I still need to clean it up a little bit. I haven't washed it in quite a while. The inside needs to be cleaned up just a little bit, and then it'll be ready to be posted for sale. I think I'll probably get pics of it tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, if anybody who watches my YouTube channel or follows me on Instagram and you want to take a first crack at this car and you live somewhat close, definitely hit me up, and you can come take a look at it. So this thing will be for sale, and I hate to see it go. I really did enjoy having this car. I think I put about 500 miles on it, broke that clutch in perfectly, so she's ready to go.